can we get started? I think it's
Yeah,
8:05 and we have some really amazing guests with us today. I think some other people are joining, but we have Chef iETEF he's currently residing in Colorado, and he's also known as DJ CAVEM. And he's going to share with us a bit about the work he does in terms of, kind of this inner space of cooking, advocacy, and music as well. And then following him will be MAKED Dread, and she's down at the World Beat Center in San Diego, and also doing amazing things at the intersection of art and history and music. Also, is a DJ herself, has a really amazing vegan cafe at the World Beat Center. So I'd like to just let them really share their experiences, and we'll start with DJ CAVEM, and you can just go into what you'd like, and then I can also go through some of these interview questions if you like, but the floor is yours.
What's happening, y'all? Peace and love, peace and blessings. Is it possible I can share a screen?
Yeah, I think, Cheryl, are you able to allow
him,
or is Ken here?
Ken is here. I think it's okay, Ken, right?
Yes, it says
2 seconds.
Disabled.
Okay, and you make him co-host? Okay, Ken's gonna make you co-host, DJ.
Oh, good. That's what's up, that's what's up. Let me try it again. And cool. Really happy to, to be able to kick it, you know what I mean, with y'all right now, you know what I'm saying? Can you see my screen now? I want to make sure you can.
We can't see anything.
We can see your screen, just you though. Yeah, now it's starting to change. Exactly.
Perfect.
Cool. Do you see that? You see that? I just want to make sure you guys, can check out what I'm trying to do.
Yes, we can see you.
All right, cool. First off, shout out to all my ancestors, elders, you know what I mean, representing all the way from Arapaho Nation. Shout out to all my distant relatives, you know what I mean, Cherokee Nation right here. My full name is Omi Bade Ifa Shegu Itef Hotep Vita, representing all the way from the 5 Points Wild Wild West. And nothing but love for y'all, you know what I mean? It's real interesting. I think I met Sister MAKED Dread when I played a show with Midnight. I played a show with Midnight maybe 5 times, especially when they came to Denver. And I think we had a show in I don't know if it was it must have been Seattle or something like that. Or so we came across each other maybe 10 years ago or something like that though. Nothing but respect. I just wanted to acknowledge you. Yeah, definitely sitting on the shoulder of elders, and it's been rocking in the soil for a long time. I wanted to share something with y'all. I just want to make sure y'all can see this. Yeah, y'all see this garden background and all that on my screen?
Yep, we see it.
Perfect. All right, cool. I'll give you kind of a sneak peek of some stuff I'm working on. I shot this video working with Chef Matthew Kinney and my OG Ron Finley. I want to just kind of give you a taste of what I'm working on in the music world. Check this out.
You have to enable your sound, or else it won't play the sound.
Hold on, what you say, homie?
You have to enable your sound. You have to exit out, and then when that box pops up, when you click share your screen, you have to, at the bottom, there's gonna say share computer sound. You have to click that.
All right, so I press stop sharing screen.
Yep, and hit it again. There's gonna be a box that pops up. In that white box, there should be at the bottom left-hand corner.
Share sound. All right. Yep. Perfect. All right, do I hit optimize video clip as well?
Yeah, hit that too.
Perfect. Let's just make sure we got everything rocking. I'll try one more time. I want to make sure y'all can. Oh, you see it now?
Yes.
All right, there's a lot of stuff I pulled up. Let's go.
Garden snakes out, garden snakes out. Pocket full of dreams, watch your big mouth. They got Terminator C's, take your lights out. I'ma sell a lot of greens once we break out. always on the phone, always on the phone. See us in your track, got another home. All the farmers on my block got that skin tone, so I'ma post up on the market till it's all gone. Broccoli in the work, broccoli in the work. Turn the compost, flipping in the dirt. Flip the dirt, turn it to that network. Now you see what's in my pockets on my network. Pocket full of seeds, watch me grow first. Red chalk classic, call it red alert. Stop yelling at your kids, that's not how it works. See, they always love the veggies when it's out the dirt. Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to set the tone real quick for you, real quick. So what's going on is I basically make environmental hip hop. You know, it started off definitely in the conscious scene, you know, reggae scene, pretty much in between that lifestyle, borderline, you know what I mean, keeping it hood, but also keeping it OG, organic gardening style. And so just, you know, wanted to share that. It's not released yet. It's a project that I'm working on called Concrete Garden. Well, I'm going to be dropping albums and packets of seeds and sprout kits and mushroom kits, really to engage and talk about sustainability in that way. But yeah, I love to like, you know, dialogue more with y'all. You know what I mean? I don't want to take up too much of the floor, but I at least want to at least show you some of the stuff that I'm working on. I'm currently in my studio right now. I figured like it would be more of an idea to show you like, you know, from an artistic perspective, you know what I mean? And then I'll flip some other recipes for you later. But talk to me though. Start it up. That's my intro.
I love the video, I gotta say. The shoe planter is that was, you know, you got these little touches and stuff that just cross a lot of boundaries. So it's yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
That's Ryan Finley's garden, you know what I mean? We was in Crenshaw when we pulled up off that. So, you know, shout out to the South Central farmers, you know.
That's where, yeah, Cheryl and Daryl and a couple other people are really located down in LA, and we've been doing a lot of work there. Watts just opened up I think it's a $5 million urban farm called Mud Farms, and they're doing everything along the value chain from growing foods to distributing them to having a processing plant as well. So it's cool to see this happening. I just think it's extra inspiring that you're bringing in the arts a bit, because that's sometimes what is missing from the environmental work and the action, and particularly engaging with the youth. I think it's critical.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, the whole goal of that video. Go ahead.
So I'm thinking like this project is all about connecting subject matter experts, you know, growing from the ground up, like you, with academic partners and mentors to help us better understand how this approach to food justice that you're taking helps health outcomes. So I'm just wondering, in your everyday work, as you're talking to people, using the music to draw them in and have these conversations, how do you see this impacting how people change their habits? Do they add one fruit a day? Do they add one more vegetable? Do they walk or exercise more? I was just curious, like, how do you see that change happening from you putting this positive environmental hip hop out here to the world?
Oh, well, yeah, you know, I definitely, for me, it's culinary climate action, you know, cooperative economics. I mean, that's a video about slinging vegetables from a CSA perspective, like drugs. Like, I think that's good enough right there. You know what I mean? We can change the world by, you know, the way that hip hop has been so influential. Youth really only do what they see like a commercial, you know? And so within like, you know, the drug epidemic that's happening through our urban communities, it's really about encouraging young people about having community access, traceable source. Of course, you're greening the block, you're greening the whole garden, you're greening your whole vibe, you know, it creates the whole fortification of the body. somebody who's been working in food justice related things for over 17 years, it's definitely a vibe. I've been vegan for over 22, and matter of fact, 23 starting next year. And thinking about it from that perspective, like, all right, plant-based lifestyles is a lot easier to come across. You can throw a rock and find a veggie burger and a vegan wrapper. And I think if we continue to talk about ideas of like how we're addressing climate change through our purchasing, at the same time we're addressing like agronomy and holistic health, because we're creating those real green jobs, you know, not just the ones that we roll, but the ones that we actually eat up too. And I think plant-based medicines is becoming more of a natural term to think about. And that's where my whole focus is right now, really showing people like on community supported access. And when you see that, that's really what it's all about, you know?
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I kind of missed the first part, and hopefully I can watch the video, but from what I saw, and as someone who is interested in gardening and spreading it out, especially to the youth, I was wondering if you ever consider like doing something, or maybe you're already doing it with the schools, because there is this whole movement of bringing gardening in gardens and having the kids grow food and that way connect to food in a different way. But everybody sees it as something that is the little kids will do it, because that, you know, the older ones are too cool for that. But I was wondering if, you know, with your work, they could feel more willing to be engaged and also start changing their dietary patterns by involving in, you know, growing and understanding through the lyrics and connecting to something that speaks to them, right? So I have a teenager also, so I know that that's the kind of music she listens to.
Wow. It's definitely, it started off that way. I was educated for many years for the public school system. Didn't like their curriculum, so I created my own. And then they hired me to go ahead and just start doing my own thing. I was showing up in classrooms with a boombox and a blender. Definitely, the younger they are, the more they don't mind showing up completely covered in mud when they get back home. By the time they get into middle school, you got to feed them while you're in classrooms. So I was making smoothies and sprout kits and all kind of stuff like that. By the time I got into high schools, I realized that, yeah, they wanted to make money. They started looking at their shoes. You start talking about dirt. It's not happening. But they into that ponics, aquaponics, hydroponics, anything ponics related, because they want to make money. They want to learn how to be able to like be the next bud tender, real talk. But at the end of the day, Ivy League, academia, community, you know, more scholarly college kind of style, these kids are more interested in the future, progressing it, you know, addressing issues like climate change, addressing issues like, you know, agronomy and food access. But, you know, everybody has a niche where they gotta like be able to fit in. When it comes to music, you hit everybody. I got people who baby boomers who taking my seeds and they growing my album and not even listening to the music. But then I got kids who's like doing TikTok dances to it. So it's all about the whole intergenerational dialogue that does need to happen, more than just around food, but also around health and wellness, because we got a lot of intergenerational tyranny, more Cadillac cars, you know what I mean, on the block, and lowriders are people who really don't really think about how they're contributing towards carbon emissions, let alone some people in the hood where I'm from in the Midwest can't really relate towards ocean plastics, but they can relate towards, you know, carbon footprint. They can relate towards things like landfills and stuff. So you got to meet people where they are. Definitely the young people are vibing and they gravitating. I do concerts in schools all the time. I show up, pull up with the turntables, rocking a full-on set, and the kids have no idea that all the songs is about growing food. Real talk.
Thank you. I love that you bring
do you just want to, can you also just mention where you're from as well, just so
yeah, no doubt. I'm from the wild west. I'm in Colorado, right here outside of the corners of Nat Love and, you know, the old posse cliques. Definitely, I'm like straight up, you know, baby out of the post-truce of LA. You know what I mean? I grew up around gangsters and hustlers, and that's how I learned how to have community support and community ideas around transforming our ways of like being in monetary. And I think that's what it's all about. Sometimes you have to be able to know where you come from to know where you at and how you heal your hood. So yeah, shout out to the Arapaho Nation. What's up?
And Susanna, I just also wanted to, if you can introduce yourself as well, so we kind of see this dynamic of where we're bringing people together from.
Yeah, sure. Before I forget, I just want to mention there is an awesome garden in Compton, and I really want to visit it. I don't know if you know about it. I think you are not. I don't know where you are right now, but I really want to go there. So this is Susana Matias. I am nutrition specialist. I am based in UC Berkeley, and I am a funny type of faculty. I am faculty, but I am not the teaching faculty. I am the kind of faculty who has to connect the university with the outside communities. And always, this is why I was, thinking about linking the schools, trying to connect, bring whatever we have learned within the walls of the school to and bring it to the different groups in outside or throughout California. So that's where I am coming from, and then that's where I see the value of trying to connect with, spreading what you are doing. For example, spreading it out through the educational system in California, through a curriculum, through something that could be then implemented by several willing teachers or gardening coordinators that might be working with the kids and trying everything to be able to engage the middle schoolers and the high schoolers. The other thing I want to say is, one more thing is like the mental health issue is also, Cheryl asked about the health outcomes, but this connection with the land, this understanding of your power to grow your own food, and just the fact that it's kind of mindfulness, it works like a mindfulness activity for me to do gardening. Maybe not for everybody, but hopefully for some others. It's very, it's one of the activities that could also help us, to ease the stress of our youth and anybody, but focusing right now in youth.
Yeah, thank you, Susanna. I mean, and on that note, like they have even done studies of just people's serotonin levels are higher if they have dirt from the garden underneath their fingernails. So you do actually get happier from being in touch with the soil. And one other thing I just wanted to mention, as you guys were talking about students, Susanna's also worked a lot with food insecurity issues at the university level. So a lot of people who are in their college career are also food insecure because they're strapped for cash and going to school. So that is a critical time that I think sometimes people don't think about of when people are food insecure. So we're also hoping to kind of work together and build grants that can address food insecurity within the university student population.
Dig. I agree with all that. It's definitely some I see happening in communities that are, transforming from, being urban renewal or gentrified. A lot of times, you never know what happens. It could be a juice bar and an urban farm that pops up in the middle of a space that a lot of times needs to be reclaimed. Shout out to Detroit for being like, the urban farming mecca right now for reclaiming land. But of course, they ain't got the year-round growing system that y'all got from Atlanta to California, but it still transforms the ideas of people who want to create access. So yeah, I concur. Definitely, it works with the mind, body, and the soul. It's all in that unification of being able to be connected to the mycelium culture, right? Real talk.
True. If you have also any recommendations for other resources, organizations, artists, or any specific places in Detroit that we can also look up and maybe have featured. A big part of this is kind of like that emergent mycelium behavior of networking as well, where we're hoping people can meet and interact and link up and build projects to help their own personal movement with this move forward.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
I'm sure you've got some artists and books and stuff, and that really goes for everybody that we can add to our resource page as well. So
yeah, check out D-Town Farms, Baba Malik. out there in Detroit making major moves. I know they're actually in the process of raising funds to build a co-op because they have so much land, they have so much food, and they got to be able to like store them properly, give it and disperse it to the community. You know, there's a lot of great opportunities. Matter of fact, I just got a fellowship out of Detroit and San Francisco for artists for first responders. You know, I think that a lot of times when protests and all these other things, the people who are designing the images of T-shirts, the people who are designing murals, you know, to be able to honor, you know, social justice issues, a lot of times you see those same people in the climate space, in the food justice space, in the environmental justice space, you know, people like Dr. Charles Lee and, you know, Dr. Ben Chavez has definitely been, you know, some of the greatest influences, I think, between social justice and the environmental movement. And a lot of times, you know, they don't really get the respect and the honor. So it's always good to see that the young people uplifting them like the way we do Greta or my little brother Shuteska. So thinking about it from that perspective of like, you know, our indigenous brothers and sisters, you know, definitely don't want to leave out the sous chefs, you know what I mean, and all our brothers on the front line from Standing Rock down to the Navajo reservation, because you're right, you know what I mean? It must be really hard to grow food in Flint, Michigan right now, doing with the water stake, you know?
True.
That's love. Yeah.
Excellent.
You guys heard of the Wallapini method?
YSA?
Have you heard of the Wallapini method?
No, break it down.
Oh, very interesting. Wallapinis were a native Mesoamerican tribe. And what they did to counteract cold is to dig holes and grow in the trench.
Oh, you mean, yeah, like for the Three Sisters and the corn. They do that down in New Mexico a lot.
Yeah, they did this. I could, if you want, I can send you a report on it. Real interesting stuff. There's a guy who's modernized it.
Rodney.
And he's at greenhouseinthesnow.com. I urge everybody to go look at that because I've been talking to some people in Detroit about doing one of these things up there. A guy named Roy Meadows. His wife is a local active person in this sort of thing. And we had some setbacks, but you know, we're talking again about doing it. And you've got to basically have a domes, you know, you have to have a covered system over a trenched area, and you take advantage of the heat sink that the earth provides. You go down 8 feet, man, and it's 60 degrees just about anywhere you are. It doesn't matter how cold it is above the ground. Yeah, so this guy, Greenhouse in the Snow, is what you want to check out. This guy's modernized the wall. I asked him, I said, how did you figure out, how'd you find out about this thing? And he says, oh, it's the Wallapini method. I said, what? And then he told me about the Wallapini. What he's done is he takes double walled Lexan, covers the trench, and they grow inside. This guy grows oranges in the middle of Nebraska. Right. So this is what you want to do in Detroit and all these other urban areas where it's cold. You're going to have to, just take an environment and appropriate it. You appropriate the natural environment of these, where these superfoods can be grown, and put it there using this method.
Facts. Yeah, I heard about homies, like they take like the water barrels and they put them in all four corners. They dig real deep, and then they like use a geothermal mass to be able to like take all that steam up, and then they recirculate it. I heard some homies who even got like, they got like their little animal sanctuaries popping, so they be letting their chickens come through and to like, kind of help keep it warm. And then they be picking out all the ticks out the soil, and then they got their little thing, raised beds popping. Yeah, man, I'm hip, man. I'm hip. I just didn't know that that's what it was called. You know what I'm saying? But straight up, I know in Colorado we had this space called the Grow House, which is an interactive like greenhouse, literally in the middle of a food desert. I mean, the freshest thing you can find was a lemon and a liquor store. You couldn't find nothing on the block, player. And you go up and down, we had like bananas, and we had all kind of stuff growing, lemons and bib lettuce. We were supplying bib lettuce regionally for like Whole Foods markets and like all the little cooperatives around the block. And that's what it's all about. I definitely support that. But yeah, we had that drip irrigation with that geothermal mass pulling all the way through the soil. It was fresh. I know what I feel what you're saying. I just didn't know what it was called. Like, they're looking out. See, that's the intergenerational dialogue we need. We need to know these names. You know what I mean? Some of the young folks, we got different ways that articulate the same things that, you know, because ain't nothing new under the sun, and that's what's up.
That's right. We got to look back. I mean, this stuff goes back hundreds of years, hundreds. They've been doing this, man. These guys, so they knew about this stuff. So I think we have to appropriate that stuff in the past, bring it to the forward, bring it to the now.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of this is, you know, I mean, even with gardening, working down with Mariko Gifford on Moringa, it was a lot of back to the basics of soil biology and vermiculture and worms. And something, I mean, there are these solutions from thousands of years back. Same with forest management in California. It was operated under much different you know, principles basically. And, you know, kind of what we talk about is having, when we make decisions about food or industrialization or development, that it needs to consider the environment and people, and not just, you know, an economic return. One other kind of connection I wanted to make here is Chef Kabui, are you there? I also wanted you to meet each other. Chef Kabui's down in North Carolina, and we've met through connections in Kenya, and also does a lot of food justice and advocacy work, and even around language as well. Like, you know, should we be using the term food desert when a lot of these areas can be growing foods, and is it more of a resource desert? And so also talking about this stuff, the language that we use, because it is tricky using the English language on a lot of these topics.
Yes, I'm here, and thank you very much, Dr. Carey, and everybody else. Thank you very much to our wonderful presenter. I love music also, and it might be worth mentioning that my cuisine, I've been thinking about a lot about food also. I've been eating organic since 1991. And I was born in Kenya, and as a way of introducing myself, where I lived for about 20 years. 10 years of my life, I lived in the what I call the village hood, where I lived with my mother in a farm, and we grew 90 to 95% of the food we ate, we grew on our farm. We had animals, we had grains, we had vegetables, we had fruits, and all that kind of stuff. But 10 years of my life, I lived with my father in the city, who owned a restaurant in the capital city of Nairobi. And my father was, and as well as my mother, they've been very deeply involved in the struggle for liberation. My father had done 6.5 years in the British Gulag, detained by the British for his work around justice. But anyway, so that's my background. And I came to the US, and I have a background in political science and anthropology, and they went to culinary school. So after that, I think one of the biggest thing I took is that from school is food is the most political thing you ever touch in your life. There's nothing more political in food. So all that background, I use it just to understand food, you know, Native American food, Native American foodways. I see a lot of common thread, and there's no bigger common thread amongst all indigenous people than their respect for food and their centrality for food. Other people have different ways of thinking about it. But yeah, so that, let me just say that. So my cuisine, I have designed my own cuisine because I kept, every time I cooked food, or I prepared food or I spoke, people would ask me, is that Kenyan food? Then I start asking myself, what is Kenyan food? What exactly does somebody call, what constitutes and who determines what food? If a Spanish person or a white person or an Indian person does a piece of art or does any kind of music, that's their music. That's Indian music. That's a Native American music. That's Jamaican music. You know, it doesn't have to be reggae, it's Jamaican music. So any food I cook is Kenyan food. So I guess I have one of the most modern Kenyan cuisine, at least that I know. So because I was forced because of that discussion to label my food. So I call it Afrofuturistic conscious cuisine. Afro, from the music of Afrobeat by Fela Kuti, somebody I highly respect because of the use of his music to raise the consciousness of the people and to fight for justice. He was the first when I was growing up, listening to that music. My brothers were playing that music, and it had tremendous influence in my thinking about life in general, about issues of justice and the like. And futuristic is because I have come to the conclusion that only a people who will eat a certain way will live on this planet, or only through eating and consuming food a certain way will we talk about a planet in the future. If we don't need to change the way we eat, then either what we are not going to be here, and ultimately the planet might not be here as we have it. So, futuristic and conscious cuisine, that we have to think consciously more than any other time in our history about the way we think. So, so that's a brief introduction. Very, very good to see other people connecting food with music, and would be interesting. So finally, what the other part of introduction is that I'm setting up a center in Kenya. It's called Food Literacy and Sustainability Center, in land that I inherited from my father, as well as a few other pieces of land that I bought across the country. So that's my biggest pet project, if I can call it that. And I'm looking to collaborate with other people, whether they're in the music, whether they're in the nutrition and other kind of stuff, to where we can have a center that does cross-cultural collaborations in elevating our collective consciousness around food. So we're creating content. I write a blog. Anybody who is interested can check out my blog, chefkabui.com. I just realized that now Google ranks me as the top sustainability chef in Africa. I didn't know about it until I got an invite to speak in Milan. And I asked those guys, how did you know about me? They say, oh, we Googled the top sustainability chef in Africa. I say, I don't even live in Africa, right? So that just speaks to the amount of work that we have to do also in Africa as well. And I'm glad to welcome anybody to come and visit. I make 2 trips to Kenya annually, December and July. And and we do food tours, or we do food events and stuff. So I'll pause.
Santisana, thank you.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I've been I studied at the MAKED University in Uganda. Shout out to Dr. Moses, you know what I mean? And then I got some connects out there in Nairobi, you know what I mean? Shout out to the Rabbit King out there.
Carolina.
You know what I mean? That's what's up. Yeah, I definitely I'm down to collab and come out there. I taught at like 3 different primary schools in Kampala and studied in Ginger. So I know that's on the other side of the border, but yeah, let's definitely collab. You know what I mean? Hit me up for sure. I got mad love for you on that. And on the music tip, I got mad connects out there. From my man Navio and you know what I'm saying, like Alan Tonics and all them. It's a lot of artists I know who want to speak truth to power, and they just need platforms to do so. So that's what's up.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I can drop my email. You can drop my email or whatever easiest contact, and we can talk about it. I come to Colorado too. I've come there several times for several gigs, so that would be wonderful, man. We can do a dinner. I do these dinners, and I call them ecological dinners, and where I prepare food and I give talks. So, and maybe you can do some music. So that's something to
that's a vibe, yo. That's a vibe, yo.
That find some of that meditation also in the kitchen as well. So
sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to say, I saw that Garrett, did you get your question asked about how more college students? I want to introduce, we do have 2 young interns, although they're not UC, because we're making our connection to UC Student Relations, but Garrett and Jess are part of Loyola Marymount, which is a local university here in Los Angeles. And yes, Garrett, I just wanted to say, we definitely want you to connect with DJ, and we'll talk with Davion and the other students at LMU so that more of you can be involved with this project as well as working with DJ CAVEM. So thank you for being here today.
No doubt, yo. That's love. That's what's up. I'm with
so
it,
you're
man.
influencing college kids. How about that? They want to be like you.
It's all good. We all did our part. You know what I mean? I got a PhD in urban ecology. I just be keeping it on the low because in the hood, you know what I'm saying? You know, the best way to do it is to be able to like be grounded, be rooted without the ego, you know what I'm saying? So it's all hood. I hear what you're coming from, player. Um, I think it's really important to talk about like, you know, ways of access and also creating like that sustainability perspective from like composting, recycling, reducing, reusing. I like, man, I've been vegan for so long, but I said in the produce section. Nowadays, everything wrapped in plastic, you triple wrapped and double wrapped, like you up in a foreign country trying to get a piece of something, you know what I mean? And I think about from the concept of like, you know, what we could do to talk about our rubbish, you know what I mean? And how we can kind of really address that is actually going to be something really powerful because, you know, having a traceable source and eating out your garden, of course, is more than just sequestering the carbon. But at the same time, being able to address those simple issues of food access, living in a dorm, let alone living in an apartment, a lot of people want to have a garden and sometimes don't even have it. So rooftops and like window sills and closets. I live in Colorado, people grow in their closet all the time. You know what I mean? But thinking about it from a perspective of like food though, you know what I mean? It would be cool to kind of see like the ideas and the perspectives. I've been doing these decolonizing kitchen workshops, like a culinary climate action workshop. And I love to plug y'all with something that I think that's been powerful. Let me share this, and then I can kind of get an idea of what I'm interested in seeing in the community. Check this out. Check this out.
What's good, y'all? That's your man, Chef iETEF, live and direct right here, representing Earth Guardians and the squad, the crew, Plant-Based Records. We're gonna be rocking right here for a raw food, no bake cheesecake. What we have is pink salt, raw soaked cashews, coconut shreds, dates, walnuts, vanilla bean, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries. And you're gonna need some maple syrup. On the bottom, we can either use like chia seeds. Sometimes I've even used like oatmeal, but today we're gonna use coconut shreds. So what you're gonna need is some dates and some walnuts because we're gonna make the crust. If you're using mature dates, always take out the pits. Walnuts, that's key. So when it starts to clump up like that, it's done. Coming up next, now you gotta go ahead and start to lay your crust. You wanna press it down to where it's an even thickness, but starts to push out to the walls, right? That's about a half an inch thick right here. So what's in the filling of the cheesecake? No cheese, but there is some cashews. So you want to use about 2.5 cups of cashews that have been soaked and drained overnight. However many cashews you got, you want to cover that up with maple syrup. For the flavor, you already know, you want to add some vanilla. Sometimes you might want to add almond extract, but here we go. Yeah, you can add chocolate, you can add different flavors that you're feeling. One of the most important parts, it's got to be the coconut oil. You want to get fair trade organic coconut oil. For that high pitch on it. When you start to hit that high pitch, that means everything is nice and thick. It's ready. This is definitely going to be bomb. Shout out to Alchemia on this one. And so now it's time to pour cashew cream into the cake.
Ooh,
now, this is where you get the chance to decorate, add your flavor, add your vibes to it. That's part. You definitely want to have a top on it so you don't get the freezer burn. You want to leave it at night for at least about 4 hours.
So I'm just saying though, like stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like you pull up on the block, you know what I mean, with a cashew cheesecake, you know what I'm saying? You put it on the corner, you know what I mean? Got the kale chips on deck. Like, you know, it's easy to like flip like the young hustlers and then show them how to like sell kale chips on the corner. Real talk, you know what I mean? And that's really what I'm all about is like transforming the ideas of what community access and economics looks like by creating green jobs that have nothing to do with just cleaning up oil on the golf, but literally like growing greens and selling them. And sometimes I can look like a personal chef. I've been a personal chef for years. I was one of the personal chefs for my man Wilson Chandler from the Denver Nuggets. He left the Nuggets after they went to the playoffs, went to the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets ended up turning the whole team went vegan. I mean, think about the influence of like what you can do around addressing climate change by literally transforming the way that we eat. A lot of times we don't make that intersectionality enough. And you know, people be on the front line, you know what I'm saying, with a, you know, with a now cipher like food and not really thinking about it from a perspective when they really could be organizing in a community. And sometimes the best way to be able to address these issues, battle with your plate and your dollar, not always up in the face of these politicians who really don't got nothing to say. Real talk. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, people say, you know, we vote in these elections once every 4 years for the president, but you vote every day with your dollar, and you choose where you invest that, you know. And I've realized recently with airline flights, they'll put like the carbon footprint on what flight you take. And it would be interesting if on a nutrition label, it had like a carbon footprint score. And the reality is the ones that have the lowest scores wouldn't be in a package, right? So when you start to think about operating, we work with another man, James Brady, who's not on this call today, but he talks about food being within 10 feet of your kitchen, you know. So if you start to think about the supply chains that are involved in these packaged foods, it's pretty intense sometimes for a small amount of calories. So I think, like you're saying, these perceptions aren't always there, and we have a nice divide where people who are even working in these fields may be not even recognizing, you know, some of those ways they can cut back and reallocate resources more locally.
True. Hey, that's what's up, though. I'm really excited to like see how this conversation will like develop, you know, more access and, you know, more accountability. You know, we all have to do our part. You know what I'm saying? I know for sure. I look outside my window. I got 13 fruit trees. You know what I'm saying? I got a second refrigerator full of pears and apricots, and I'm waiting for the next season. And I got some dry blackberries that I had to pull off the bush because I had such a great bounty this year to like be able to make tea out of. But like, you know, that echinacea, the osha root, and all those things that we have around us. I mean, I'm a dude. I don't even take Advil. You know what I'm saying? Let alone anything else. You know what I mean? So I'm always on some like health and wellness and like really holistic health, kunindeta, and like shaman work. And at the end of the day, I feel like we need to like remember that we can heal our bodies with food. You know what I'm saying? Like on some Hippocrates kind of vibe. You know, let that food be medicine kind of stuff. But we just got to remind each other. And sometimes I know we get scared. You know, we get kind of influenced by outside cultures or even governments. But at the end of the day, you know, the government still thinks it's okay to eat genetically modified food. So I'm gonna leave that there. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. Just saying.
And high doses of sugar, you know, that exceed, like even on their label, it says it's over 100% of your daily sugar intake, but it's okay, you know, so. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If there's anything else anyone wants to ask or any other comments, I mean, my last thing is that I'd like to continue to work with you and with Cheryl Branch and this group. We do plan to put in another grant application to extend it for another year. We'd like to have you back and hopefully get you involved in some other projects through the state. There is a ton of California and state funding, federal funding for urban agriculture for, you know, exactly what we're all doing. And so that's another part of this, is to bring people together who want to get some of those federal funds to do more of this work as well.
Hey. But put the money right back in the hood. You know, that's all I want to see. I want to see people fortify the land, transform the soil. You know what I mean? Really be a part of it. You know, that's what's up. You know, definitely. I'm all open. Check out this new documentary that I'm featured in called "They're Trying to Kill Us." It's produced by Billie Eilish and some of the same people who did "What the Health" and Cowspiracy. just premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival. There's another documentary called Ice on Fire, produced and narrated by Leonardo DiCaprio, that I'm featured in, that talks about solutions to climate change. I think when you make that intersectionality between how we're addressing that, you know, there'll be justice not only to address the food swamps, you know what I'm saying? Because it may not always be a desert, but it might be slimy, you know what I mean? It might be something in a cellophane bag that you can't even recycle, you know?
Sure.
But thinking about it in that perspective, when it's in the hood, doesn't mean that it's not always good. It may be vegan, but it may not be organic. So keep that in mind. I would stay in your produce section if I was you, player. One love.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something as well. I really want to acknowledge you for this, and Dr. Waterman. It's the platform that you provide for sharing the information and ideas to people. That's the critical piece. We are the mycelium, you know, creating these connections, and for that to be embedded in music, that's what changes lives. I mean, it has always been. Every culture has music, and we all have a way to connect to that. And I have put in the chat connections to Bennu Gardens. That's Bernard Singleton, who's in North Carolina, and he's right in the midst of building something inside that urban community, a building that will be a youth center and training center. He has a grant or land grant from the Carolina Land Trust. And so he's already worked through so many of the issues of dealing with urban farm, urban outreach with young people. And his garden, Nebadiah Farms, is growing all types of ancestral food, African varieties of rice, you know, connecting to Ghana. They had all through October events connecting his fields of the food that he grows with Ghana recipes. And so he's a really good resource. I invited him to be on this call and he wasn't able to make it, but in the future, you know, those are the connections. He's working with the soil biology. So, you know, to me, all of this begins in the soil. All of those climate change issues can be solved in the soil. And, you know, we have research on mushrooms that can break down plastic. So we have to know that nature is in this with us and joining in whenever asked, and it's on its own, right? So the more that we connect and understand the power that nature has to actually heal the things that we have damaged, it's doing that already, you know, under our feet every day. And so to connect to that, acknowledge that it is the roots, it is where all of this comes from. All your food is grown in that soil. What is the quality of that? That's going to be the quality of your food. That's going to be the quality of every living thing on earth. So I really acknowledge this platform, and great hello to Rodney. We've been in the Moringa world together for decades now. Pretty soon it's going to be more
again. We got to talk.
Marika, hi.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Tish, great. Yeah. So these are people
hi.
who have held the
Where
torch.
Are you? Where are you?
I'm in San Diego.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
San Diego, same
I thought
place.
you went up north.
Yeah, no, yeah, we
Ojai.
bit. Yeah.
That was a short trip, huh? Okay.
But it's great to see my students on this call. You know, we are putting the word out just constantly to train people how, and especially for me and, you know, Rodney and a few other people here, focusing on moringa, because when you grow a food that has the most amount of nutrition, then all of that work of growing of the whole variety of things goes down, because you can grow that plant and it can provide so much, like with Christian here with sickle cell anemia work that he's doing. And each of the people here, you have your mission, right? And we all do. And this connecting together is how we can join in on each other's mission in life and manifestation, and the intention that we have to improve everything that we're doing. So I really look forward to more of this collaboration and the community. We are the tribe right here, and all of the people who are connected to us. And that's what needs to grow and be empowered. I really acknowledge you. This work is phenomenal, and it's so much fun. I mean, when you have it based on the young people and the vibe, the energy of music, it brings in that whole element. People want to join
Yeah, it's
in.
like amazing. Where's all this music coming from? That's right up my alley.
That's right, Rodney. This is, Rodney is like a masterful classical pianist, and you'd never know it because he's always doing marimba stuff. But that's really
yeah. I've known Rodney for 8 years, and I didn't know he was a classical musician either.
Incredible musician.
Well, I'm doing jazz too now, and I'm recording some other stuff. So I'll have some stuff for you here.
And you can see
I got
like
a whole studio. Yeah, I noticed it, and it's cool.
Where I am, this is a
Look
music, a music museum. My husband is all about music and there too. So this is the way to reach, because music comes from the heart, and that heart connection is what everyone is looking for and needing, and that's where all the healing begins. It is right there, and that moving us all toward that and connecting that, making that heart connection. That is our essential way. That's our primal way. And every person can connect to that.
Excuse me, where are you, Mariko? Where are you located?
I'm in San Diego County, Vista in San Diego County, California.
Oh.
And we've been collaborating on Moringa quite a bit. And actually, Mariko is the one who introduced me to MAKED Dread. So it's a perfect segue. So I just wanted to thank again, DJ CAVEM, Chef iETEF. Thank you so much for everything you shared. It's so exciting. I really, we look forward to working with you more. And Makeda, if you want to transition in and say hello, and if you have any questions for Chef iETEF before he goes, or you're welcome to stay. I don't want to take up too much of your time either. So, because it's December, we thought we'd have a little longer session today as well.
I can dig it. I'm good. I'm grateful.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.
I want to, big up DJ CAVEM. I've seen him with Midnight, because music is my thing. I do a lot of different things. And also we met at the Heirloom Seed Festival.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that was the last time. Yeah.
Yeah, Heirloom Seed Festival. And I want to big you up some of the things, everything that you're doing, and especially using music and being a chef. I mean, it's incredible to see the youth, take this on. So it's so important, I also had the first vegetarian restaurant in San Diego in 1971. I've been a vegetarian for 60 years and a vegan for 40, and next year I'll be 80. And so you see what this diet, this can do for you. We got to keep this going on. And you youth, and I say, son, that you're my youth, but you keep going on and in the hood, in the community, and dealing with climate change. This wasn't a easy road for me in 1971. I mean, it took me so long to get the restaurant open, and I had Pearl Harbor survivors that didn't understand what yoga was, and they, John Birch Society tried to burn down the building, and so bringing this to the forefront of vegetarianism. I met Dr. Bronner. We would go to see Dr. Bronner. He would wake up from his nap, and his all one. A lot of people in San Diego, I'm from San Diego, California, and a lot of people in San Diego, they all came to San Diego, like Dr. Bernard Jensen, all these health people, and they really wanted us youth to take this on, take all this knowledge, and we were interested in it. We're in a whole movement too. We came from the 60s, meditating and all those different things, and love-ins, and that's where I come from, that generation. But again, I have to big up Mariko and Dr. Kwaku Ando, who turned me into Moringa. So I'm gonna get into, since I'm in music and radio and all those things. Oh, and I want to big up the brother from Kenya. I produce Fela. I produced Fela Ransom Kunte, and I have a good picture of him, and also been blessed to produce the Honorable Robert Nestor Marley, Bob Marley. So it's been a journey, you know. But Fela was incredible. I would follow him around. So I'm glad all the people that Fela was singing about, you could see them right now in office, you know, and I loved it, you know. Fela Ransom Kunte. And so I'm gonna give, you know, I'm gonna let you look, you know, I'm kind of visual person. I'm gonna let you look at some of the things that we've been doing at the Woodbury Cultural Center in San Diego. So here we go. Share screen. Oh, okay. Can you share the screen? Can I have permission?
Yes,
Farrell,
1 second.
Or Ken, thank you.
Craven, I like that music you got going. That's I was wanting to hear more. I love the raw pie, you know, that's great, you know. So
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll send you a link. Yeah, check it out. I'm on Spotify and SoundCloud and all that jazz. Last album was called Biomimics, like biomimicry.
well, I'd like to get an interview with you soon for radio.
Oh yeah, just call me. I'm with it.
Okay, I'm glad we're hooking. I'm glad we're hooking. It's so important. This is bringing us all together, you know.
Oh, you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay, cool. Okay, here we go. We build outdoor classrooms here at the center, and we take kids. We work with a lot of children and a lot of, you know, schools, and that's why they got to be cultural centers, you know, more cultural centers, because we can't wait for them to teach our children. You know, I mean, I look at, I wouldn't want them to teach critical race theory or anything to, you know, because I know it's not going to be, you know, they have to learn it through, the teachers have to learn through some other standards. Okay, here we go. We have music playing from this moringa tree. I'm with Marika, my teacher, that day. Moringa's flowering. This is the actual music. I'm gonna have to turn this off because Paris is gonna go to sleep. So if you, this music will bring you, you know, it brings you down to a, you know, straight down to your solar plexus, you know, that are transcending this world. And it calms you down. So what happened to Mariko, she took this CD when we did it in CD, and she put it in her car and she drove home. She could barely, I think she pulled over.
Yeah.
Is that true?
You know, it's a disclaimer when you listen to that, and I tell it every time I introduce that to people because it's so calming. You really can't operate machinery or vehicles or things where you need to lose that not you know, that logical brain, because it just brings you right into the heart center, and your energy just goes inward. And so that's a device that goes through a synthesizer and an amplifier, and you're actually hearing the vibration of the plant.
Yeah, how did you do that? I mean, where did you get what's the source?
Yeah, it's called Plant Wave. That's a device you can buy. It's like $290 or something.
Well, they've been dysfunctional. I really go, yeah. So I think they're going to really improve on that. I sent mine back, so they've been having some problems with it. But actually, you clip that onto the leaf, and they have a rod that you put to the root. So me and Marika, we were thinking about making one day.
Yeah, it looks like this. Okay. It's a little device, and it has biofeedback pads. It's been in a GoFundMe kind of development stage, and it comes from another organization called Damanur in Italy.
So it's an integrated circuit, and it's picking up. Okay, got it.
Picking up vibration.
Yeah, that's fascinating harmonies and
that's moringa. That's the sound that moringa makes. The tinkle and the you know, and every plant has their own unique sound, their unique music that they make.
Of course.
And you can go online and Google concerts with plants, and you will see that people are on YouTube doing concerts, and they have potted plants on stage, and they have it connected. And sometimes the plants don't readily begin to play. Sometimes they decide. They decide when they play.
Right? Yeah.
You have to introduce sometimes another plant.
So cool.
With the plant too, so that plays a lot, and so it will you know, have the plant know that it could play, and it trains the plant to play music. You know, I have, you know, it's very, very interesting. I'm going to give you something else on moringa right now. So again,
so I'll just add a piece. When Makeda and I were at the Heirloom Seed Festival, we did it live. We played a CD one year, the next year we did it live. We had a plant with us, and when we did that, literally, like, I don't know how many, 300 people were in the room, had their cameras on. They came all just toward the front and weeping when they realized that this is what the moringa was, you know, conveying. It was playing this music, and people came to our booth still crying. They were so moved to discover that this is a sentient being who's participating, and we never can hear it, you know, until that moment. Brought such awareness to people about plants in our space, living in our space with us.
Your blood pressure goes down in a week if you have listen to earphones before you go to bed. I mean, it's amazing because you don't have to ingest the plant. You know, it calms you down. I mean, moringa is incredible. Marika can tell you how the vitamins and minerals and amino acids that are in moringa.
Can I get a copy of that?
Of our particular one? It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is cool.
So here we go again. We're harvesting. I had Christian. This is the moringa harvest. Second time. Incredible. I mean, this is enough medicine for the world, you know? Moringa. And this is the food of the gods and goddesses. Hey, moringa, you doing the moringa harvest, Ronald?
Yes, ma'am.
We got enough moringa for the world here, huh?
Yeah.
Serious trees in there. Nice.
Wow. Is it
beautiful?
I mean, this is the second time we've harvested.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So if there's an emergency or anything that's going on, we would definitely, along with collard greens, be able to
Yeah,
eat
every color.
healthy. You know, make sure you have moringa. In your life, in your smoothies, or to eat raw in your salads. Moringa.
So that video that we just saw of moringa was taken with the moringa trees that I planted there 22 years ago. So that recording is made from that tree.
Yeah,
At the
really.
World Beat Center.
Yeah, we planted by seed. We planted by seed, right?
Yep, that's by seed.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
it's great.
Good work, great.
It's great to see all of this. Makeda, can you tell us a little bit more about the World Beat Center and just some of the different, like the projects that you're working on? We've talked a lot about noise, and if you could talk a little bit about the noise project that you have with Cornell, also the museum projects that you're working on, and then, yeah, those videos are great of the garden and how you use those foods then in the cafe. It really is, and it's amazing. I was only there once, and I can't wait to come back and visit.
Yeah, let me show you the cafe real quick. We'll move on, and we'll just show, since we got chefs in the house. And also, I went to culinary school and food service management school, and that's how I started out. So let me show you the cafe real quick. We try to keep everything down, you know, the prices down, so people can, you know, because vegan food is, you know, so expensive, and, you know, it's gotten to be like a really cool thing. You know, we have Jamaican patties, and our combo plate is just $15, and you can get Afro peanut curry and chili. You know, our chili is the bomb too. Louisiana Creole gumbo, and it's over basmati rice. We do a Jamaican red curry, and our Rasta burgers are incredible. They're out of mushrooms. We do a lot with mushrooms too. We do an ethnobotany salad right there, and it's out of the garden, you know, and it's with the red garuna. I'll talk about that too, you know, later on. And also the regular garuna. I mean, you really got to have that. It's called long life, you know. So, you know, eating raw and eating your salads, and getting away from a lot of cooked foods. I mean, you know, just make your, you know, make your food your drugstore. It's so important. We steam salads, and then we have baobab smoothies. Because we had the baobab, we use the baobab fruit. And then also our _1 drink is moringa smoothies. So yeah, so that's a bit of the cafe. So I think I'm gonna try to go into our outdoor classrooms real quick.
So your cafe's in San Diego?
It's inside the World Beat Cultural Center. I didn't really want to have a cafe, because after, you know, I say I'm good. I'm too old. You know, cafe takes.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of. I mean, I had a restaurant too. I had 2 restaurants. You know, one in you know, San Diego proper. And then later on, I moved to North County. And then when I started doing music, you know, because I went all the way up to the sports arena doing music, you know. And for about 25 years. And then I had a cultural center because I knew they needed culture in San Diego. And I picked Balboa Park, and they did not want an African-American in Balboa Park. So they made everything difficult and taunted. I mean, amazing I mean, you have to have resilience to get through all this racism to
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh man, I don't know how people last. I mean, I'm so, you know, we got to keep this going on, you know, and support our youth, because you want to give up. So here's our outdoor classroom.
Thank you, Cornell
University. Thank you for the bird project. Thank you for the bird project. Yeah.
Oh, I saw little penguins diving down. I guess.
figures. The children are indoors too much and not familiar, like we were, playing in the canyons here in San Diego with pollywogs and lizards, and they're indoors. What we're doing at the World Beat Cultural Center, we're building outdoor classrooms. We have taught them about saving their seeds and how seeds are very important. And then we're teaching them solar cookery and how to make their own solar oven out of aluminum foil and cardboard. And here is what we're cooking today. Yesterday we cooked burgers. Come closer. From the garden to the classrooms, it's really important. And they got to see everything out of our garden being cooked by the sun.
So where does this seed, I'm asking you this, where does this seed start from? Where does it begin? Before the seed, where does it begin? Actually, you know, when the pollinator, what they're doing, they're gathering pollen from one flower to another. So when they're gathering that pollen, they accidentally drop it. Yeah, like the bees, they have that pollen on their legs. It's like a furry legs. Or the butterflies, they're gathering that pollen, and then they drop it to the next flower, and the pollen goes into the center of the flower through a tube called a pistil. In the center, it becomes life. It's like it's fertilized, and now it becomes a seed. And that's the beginning of a seed. And so the seed will grow, and then it will bud, filled with water, nutrients, minerals, and sun energy. The sun energy comes down through the leaf into the center, which is the nectar, and that's that natural sugar that you taste. The sweetness is from the sun, and then it turns to be a fruit. So yes, we have to save our seeds, right?
Be quiet for about 10 minutes, and we're gonna bird watch. We're gonna see what birds we see. What did you hear?
Oh, there's someone.
A nest? Wow, you're good. Oh, what is that? Crow. Okay. Crow. You get the first.
Oh, yeah, another crow.
Another crow. You got other little sounds? That's hummingbird. Thank you, Cornell University. Yeah, so we went into science, STEM science, you know, here are these little, the park wouldn't even, I would go to meetings and they would shine me on, you know, because they were scientists and everything. And then when we got with Cornell, they couldn't believe that we got a grant from Cornell University. Oh, no, not Cornell, and STEM science, you know. So then we moved on, and we got a grant with the National Science Foundation. I'm going to show you, and it's so important that community-based organizations are working with universities and lead the research, you know. So we got to be co-PIs in this research, and with science, because we had to show that science is for all. And our kids couldn't believe that they were doing science projects. They thought science was for white people. And then we started doing, birding for them with the Lab of Ornithology. And then we moved in with the National Science Project. And that is possible, definitely, because they need communities to partner with. And so, I mean, it's been a long road and it's not easy. So I'm going to show you some of the things that we've been doing with National Science Foundation and the Cornell Lab of Ornithology.
Created by us.
Science is everywhere.
We have co-created a community science project on noise pollution, the Noise Project, to better understand inclusive, equitable, and cultural approaches to community-led research.
In conjunction with the Lab of Ornithology, we are working with 30 other groups from across the United States to have an impact upon those that are disadvantaged and live in these underserved communities.
For science and research to be truly inclusive, we need to chip away at the elitism that exists around science, research, and academia. Individuals and communities hold knowledge about their spaces that is as valuable as any scientific discovery. I think of my mom in this situation. My mom, very close to our community, has so much experiential knowledge. So if someone is coming in and trying to fix an issue that she's been having, that her community members have been having, that her population, her group has been having, why wouldn't she be leading that research? Allowing for a space in which community can lead, it makes sense. They have that knowledge. But I think the first thing that needs to happen is a culture shift, because you can't have folks leading in a space that isn't really built for them.
It's so beautiful and so different when we co-create. The project, it becomes not only more meaningful, I mean, the people who participate take ownership, and when the community benefits, everyone benefits too.
We began our vision and mission based on our values, guided by our ICBO research and building on the 6 Jimenez Principles for Democratic Organizing. We co-created and agreed to an additional 13 working agreements. These agreements shape our processes and guide our meetings, our working groups, and our projects. We also co-created our non-negotiables that prioritized our values and objectives.
It is very important that communities lead STEM project, the common ground for education, learning by doing, regarding our own cultural norms and customs. We need these processes to work together. Knowing our issues, defining and understanding our issues within our communities can lead to having a solution by us, created by us.
So I'm so really happy, Carrie, that you're working with the universities to bring this knowledge to the universities. And, you know, I want to, I'm going to, do you have any questions? You know, because, you know, this is so related, everything's related, interconnected. So what we eat but it's so important that we are part of STEM science. And I could show you how much more time I have.
We can go till 10. I mean, people can, people are free. I think what you're doing is incredible and amazing. So I'd like to go all the way till 10. If you have the time.
I want to show you something else. I mean, how we broke through science. And that wasn't easy to be a co-PI, so we want to show you a bit about our science, what we came up with in all those years. We're finishing this project after 3 years. We've been with Cornell for 10 years on projects, and and we've been to Ithaca. It's a great, it's a great university, Ivy League university. And here we go. So this is what we've been doing, an action. We put some things together here. So let me see. So like again, the
science is everywhere.
Not this one, let me see. So it's important that the universities get together with the communities, like I said. Okay, I think this is the one. So here we go. Yay. So let's see. this is the Noise Project, and we have to have an exclusive, equitable, and cultural approach to community science, and it has to be community led, and so here we go. And these are the authors, and in fact, we just got in a real hard science publication. So community led it's a co-created. So important that we, they use they come to our communities and they use us as guinea pigs. They get the grants and then they're gone. So it's so important to co-lead science projects, and we can have a better impact on our community because we know our communities, and our communities are strong. They're made of people that really care about our community, so we know what's best for them. When they come and tell us that they know what's best for us, no, we know what's best for our communities. So here we have the dominant culture institutions, and usually, like I said, communities are usually excluded from the science. We have, so what we have here is created a community science project, and it's developing process in the potential and engage historical underrepresented community and public participation in STEM science research through authentic, impactful collaboration. And it's the Noise Project. So we're, like I said, we're using critical theory, ground theory, and some of these, and race in our scientific project, research project. And that gets really, I mean, we're at a point that, even liberals don't want to hear this. I mean, we get deep, because, we're doing coding. Our coding team is incredible. So, I mean, even the most liberal dominant culture really get uncomfortable diving into these theories. We're 15 community leaders, and we're doing independent community-based research. And here's the methods.
Makeda, can I ask you, was the RFA or the call for this proposal focused around diversity, equity, and inclusion, or was NSF, were you guys pitching this as the idea more?
It was based around this. Yeah.
Are there still more calls from NSF? Like, are you going to apply again, or are other people able to apply for things like this?
Yeah, we're moving it on. We're going to apply again.
It's so incredible what you've done. I mean,
it was,
and good. Even just the language, I think is so important. Cheryl Branch, meeting with her and the Green Believers, had also introduced me to a lot of, better language to use as well, just even in the proposals. And I can say that from working in Kenya and in development in Africa, what you're saying is often the case there, where people come in with a solution to these communities and they're just like, what are you doing? Sometimes they'll accept whatever the intervention is, and then oftentimes after a year or two, it's gone and it doesn't work. And there's been billions of dollars put into these development projects. And I think a lot of it, I mean, it's hard, but if you don't start from this type of intention from the beginning, where the community is invested and actually leading it, it won't work, So I just really appreciate that, and just want to echo what you're doing and kind of what we're all trying to do. So I think this is like such a masterpiece, and I'm thinking that there is a meeting a Global Health Institute meeting in Santa Cruz coming up, and Craig Cohen, who runs this institute, said that, you know, our center should be there, and I'm wondering, we'll see if you're available, but it would be great to have you come, I think, because this is really outlining this connection between, like you said, the universities and the communities. So,
and first of all, get your working agreement, working with the dominant culture organization, and also community framework, and then get your non-negotiables for doing your research in our communities, intentional working group, the principles, like I said, community-led protocols, and have your mission, your vision, and your values. You know, arts and research is it's the only way. You know, it's boring without art. So, so here we go. So this is our results and our findings. The research protocols must be centered on equity and race. The status quo is strong and will constantly challenge the work. But so you must have community ownership. It's essential to success. STEM institutions must value and respect communities' expertise. Power imbalances must be understood and intentional addresses. The community-led is necessary in the entire research process. Process must be created to balance privilege, and transparency and trust lead to psychological safety. Because we in the community, we don't trust them because we've seen what happened in our communities. They came and got the knowledge and left. All this money after getting grants and all this stuff, and they're just gone. So we have to have trust and transparency. Cultural competency is critical. Co-creation requires understanding equity versus equality. Safety does not mean making it comfortable for the status quo. Decentering whiteness is necessary. Dismantling hierarchy creates change. Understand and acknowledge the benefits and who is burdened. White supremacy culture characteristics must be identified and countered. Some pretty heavy stuff for science, huh? So it's the Noise Project. You guys could go to noiseproject.org, and once again, you can see it right there, noiseproject.org, and you can see, what, we've been doing, and we've got, we got a booklet, so we got everything for you to deal with, and I could put it in the chat too. So that is some of the things that we're doing in science, and it has caused the, ruckus, but we got printed in a science magazine, and it's incredible. So
it's provocative, I mean, it's there is this ivory tower that operates, and I think in the last couple of years too, I mean, it's always kind of under question and stuff, but it's operated in such a silo. And so even when there are efforts from within those institutions to try and create equity, they don't have the solutions or the history or the backgrounds, and it wasn't ever integrated in. So, I mean, like you're saying, you do have to have these cultural centers, and you have to have an integrated approach. I mean, and one of the goals of this grant is to get more people of color into, universities. And how does that happen if what you're saying is kids think science is for white kids? Like, that's a problem, right? And if you can change that mindset, you shift a trajectory for people. And it's it's ironic because it's actually the reverse, right? Like when we talk about indigenous knowledge and indigenous culture, we all have that, like we all have this connection. So I think it's critical, and I hope that more people can push that forward in that, particularly with the co-PI status, because we do operate in a financial world. And so with these grants, like having co-PI status is also a financial thing. And those come with, you know, different repercussions, where if you're a faculty at a university, you may be getting health insurance, but the community organization only gets contracted workers. So their efforts aren't at the same, they're not recognized at the same level. And so how can that investment be the same? And so I just think that, I think this is what we need, is these types of partnerships and people really leading the way like you. So it's really great. I'd like to open it up to anyone else who has comments or questions. You know, I'm hoping to work with Makeda a lot in the future on these types of things. One idea that we've been talking about is, you know, kind of these overall health interventions that can be lifestyle. So whether it be gardening or music or art, or food or cooking, and then what are those health outcomes? So we're trying to look, you know, even in maybe Watts and Compton area in Los Angeles, to do like a urban gardening intervention and then have health outcomes that look at diabetes and blood pressure, and even surveys that assess food security, safety, trust, those types of things, because those affect your health, you know. And I think also, just to highlight what you said about trust, I think the effort to address the war on drugs through the cannabis industry now is a good example of where they're trying to rebuild trust, to say, hey, so 20 years ago, we arrested you for this, and now we'd like to put you into a program to train you to open a dispensary. There's got to be a pathway of trust within that, because no one in their right mind would, you know, touch a fire again, right? So we have to rebuild it. So thank you so much. And does anyone have any questions, comments?
I do want to comment on Makeda. This is a phenomenal human being. She has forged the way for so many people for decades, as you can tell, you know, like 60 years being vegan. It's like, who has that in their resume, right? I mean, and all of the things that she's done with music and the cultural center in the 20 years I've known her, or I guess more now, 23 years, I have watched what causes resiliency is that you just stand up from being knocked down and then keep going. And then you stand up from being knocked down and you keep going. And I've watched her go through that, sometimes pulling her up too and saying, you know, just keep going, because it's what it takes. And it does require us to find something in ourselves that we didn't know we had, and to see what we're capable of. And then when you see people who have come through that, like she has, and she's beaming, she's not knocked down and bitter and like just enraged. No, she's turned that into just like love and open and learn from me, and I'll teach you, come one and all. And that's what it takes. You know, that's the, you know, the mentor you want to have. That's the elder you want to learn from, because for the young people, we need to have those role models. And she's such a bright, shining star for that. And everything she's learned is available for you to learn from her, not, you know, fall and get up and fall. You stand on her shoulders and she launches you.
No,
you know,
I don't
like,
know how to do it.
and so that is what's happening. And I see that in her, and she creates, you know, those kinds of people around her as well. Bernice, I mean, these are, you know, people that we have to highlight. We have to see that this is the way. They already cleared the path. They've already put the signpost. They've already, you know, there's the signal, turn left, not right, right. All of that is already established. So you just follow that path and you get to where we all need to, that destination. So I just cannot speak enough about what I have observed with her over the years, and that she, you know, the bright smile and laughter and embrace every time you see her, no matter how much down she's been, every time she faces that day with hope and gladness. And so that's what we want to emulate, you know, and she is that living being of that.
Well, you've been my teacher. You've been my teacher. And
You've been my teacher.
And it hasn't always been easy. You know, I had some breakdowns, you know, I had several breakdowns, you know, and going through this. And I think we're, like Mariko said, that we're standing on the shoulders of giants. So it's so important that we take this message on. You know, I mean, I think about Dr. King, I think about Malcolm, I think about Journey of Truth and Harriet Tubman, my girl, you know, which was an astronomer. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing astronomy, taking the urban kids up to the mountains and working with the naturalists and astronomers. And some of the kids have never seen a falling star. So it's so important to take urban, but I'm doing not the Greeks and the Romans that snatched our culture and our knowledge from ancient Egypt. So we're looking, and the Kumeyaay, because this is, I have to tell you, I have to give land knowledge to the Kumeyaay Indians, that Native Americans that are in the area that I'm blessed to be on. But we want a Kumeyaay astronomy, you know, so that's important. So we have to challenge science in all areas, you know, from our astronomy, from all the things that were stolen, and we have to tell not history, we have to tell our story.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. And, you know, when we mentioned earlier, I think Dr. Vita did as well, that we are the mycelium that are making all of these connections. And when I see, like, who's here, Christian, Bernard is in the room. So he's somebody I mentioned about Bennu Gardens, and he also has True Love Seeds. And so that's supplying seed for all types of foods, especially ancestral foods, the ancient African rice and kalaloo and many different kinds of things like that. So just extraordinary work. And you know, he's been through our course, Christian, Dr. Waterman, Raphael. I wanted to highlight Raphael. He knows Dr. Waterman. He's in Brazil. And, you know, because it's illegal to sell moringa in Brazil, he's had to focus on the agricultural aspect and uses. And so his PhD is on moringa in agriculture. What a huge contributions that is going to be when farmers realize they can grow their own fertilizer and they can drink the fertilizer that they're putting on their plants, and it's good for them and it's good for the plants and the, you know, the water. So Raphael is here and just doing incredible work there. I don't know if you want to say a few things about your work, and now connecting you to MAKED. And you know, I mean, she's going to want to know everything that you know, because when she grows moringa, she knows she can, you know, use it on different plants for improving plant growth.
Thank you, Mariko. Thank you all. MAKED, it was great to see your presentation, and DJ CAVEM as well. I think the university sometimes struggles to reach the community with the academic language and things like that. And what you guys are doing is a great tool to approach the knowledge with the community needs. So an environmental hip hop, as we saw earlier, this is innovative and disruptive because it brings the community close to the knowledge. So after industrial revolution and this industrial way to do agriculture, we have to think about a new approach, and you guys are doing that. So thank you for making the noise. So yes, well, as Mariko said, moringa has been banished in Brazil for human consumption. And me and Dr. Carey, we actually published a paper about that, about the regulatory status of moringa, but there's a lot of unclear reasons for them to do that. But as a PhD student, all we can do is look for alternatives. And the alternative I found was to turn moringa into eggs or meat or other products that can actually be sold. And this is what we do here. And as I saw you, Makeda, teaching kids how to garden in this new agriculture, which is actually the old school, but with new technologies. And I think this is the future. And we have a little farm, a small acreage farm here. We call it the Thunder Farm. And we grow organic. We build the farm around moringa crop. But since the prohibition, we had to look at the farm in other ways, which was actually good. We start to crop other things and integrate the system a little better. But the most important thing we do here is the very same thing you were doing. We have students over here that come to us for internships, because at the university they don't really teach organic farming. It's more, everything is about the conventional farming, this industrial way of cultivation. And so some students, they come to us to learn about sustainability, to learn about growing organically and using the natural resources. And I think this is the most important thing we can do, is to teach people how to grow in a more sustainable way. Maybe these big companies, they will still be alive in the next generation, but if we can change the mind of the people who will be working with them, maybe we can make better changes. So, well, that's all I wanted to say. It was great to be here today. Thank you all.
Obrigado. Thank you so much, Rafael.
Yeah, and Bernard, I wanted to introduce because he is doing that farming on Nebadai farms and connecting people to the cuisine of Ghana and quite a few other things. But the urban farming is really what he's been tasked to do, actually creating a building right inside Charlotte, North Carolina, and actually having to delegate some of the things that he does, because Bernard does 1,000 things at once. So like he's even like driving a car and probably going and delivering something to somebody while he's talking to 10 different, that's his world. So
I'm really working as we speak.
How you doing, Bernard?
And he knows
very well. Hey, Mama, how are you?
Oh, cool. Small world.
I was wondering, I've been hearing so much about you when Brother Purdue was on the phone today. Rodney, I spoke with him before.
Excellent. Yeah, it's so nice to meet you and make the connection. I know we're both, I think a lot of people on this call are busy and all doing great things, but I've definitely so glad to connect and do plan to come and visit you soon, 2022.
Oh, that'll be awesome. And like it too. We got a lot of new things going on, expanding on the African Botanical Garden this year, working with the Piedmont Culinary Guild, a couple of universities and symposiums up at UNC Charlotte. Also too, and actually Mr. Brady will be in town in next couple of weeks, working and installing our eco lab that we're building here.
Excellent, excellent.
Okay, and so, well, I caught the end of the call, but I'm glad to see my whole family's here today and my new family.
The family's growing.
Yes. I tried very hard in the middle of deliveries and making this call. Yeah, too. But and I'm about to go pick some persimmons off a garden we planted here some years ago. Like that too. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reconnecting with everybody too, and looking forward to continue to work together. And I'm honored to be on this call today.
That's great. And we have these once a month, the first Wednesday of every month. So you can check out our website, and if you'd like to come on and be a panelist too, that you'd be welcome and invited to talk more about your farm and operations and the different facets. I don't know if you're a musician too, or these other things that people have up their sleeves, but
well,
definitely.
I have people for that. Art and agriculture is what we do.
Excellent. And yeah, I'm definitely, and just kind of in the context of, I'm operating on state funds right now through the California Department of Food and Ag, but we're definitely looking at a lot of tri-state grants as well. In fact, we had submitted a USDA grant on moringa and using it for these different uses. With California, Alabama, Florida, and I think North Carolina. But so if we resubmit something like that, I definitely like to move forward. And also with this kind of global team as well. So we'll just keep growing the list of networks. And so it's great to have you here. And Makeda, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. To be honest, I have an ask of you as well. I have a job application due later today, and in writing some of these statements about what my research interest is, I'm definitely going to say, I'd like to emulate some of these principles from the Noise Project, and because you've developed something that is like, yeah, I can launch from your shoulders, and so with due credit to your work, I think that that's often what works best is like, finding people and efforts that that kind of jive with what you're trying to do and use those. So I'm hoping to move forward. It's a cooperative extension specialist position, working in nutrition. So we'll see, because I love being at this interface, and it's just such an honor to bring people together and to see the family grow. And hopefully we can all grow more and, eat healthier. I think just in seeing the news and with what's going on with COVID, I think this approach to kind of looking back and coming at it from more of a prevention is also relevant here, where we're not just waiting to patch it up with the next vaccine. And, there has to be an effort from maintaining a healthy immune system as well. And so I think that that's critical, like in this day and age as we move forward. So
and I'd love
as I mentioned,
you, Dr. Waterman, work on that one slide you have in your presentation where you show COVID issues and the specific moringa research that deals with that. That's what has to be right front and foremost, that people realize that we have the medicine in our hands.
Yeah.
We just have to, because they're still looking to see how to prove the research and all of that. And it's like, that's your forte. So I'd love for you to be able to delegate as much as you can so you can be freed up for that really, really critical work.
It is, it's a delicate line, because with moringa, you can't say that it'll cure COVID, or it's really, the linguistics around it are really challenging, even though we know that eating healthy, having proper nutrition, vitamins does boost your immune system. We know vitamin C, like these things, but it is tricky. We did submit one grant proposal on using moringa, and it was actually like home-based care where people would And these are the kind of grants we want to apply for too, like grow your own moringa, grow your own vegetables, eat it, and then monitor your health and see if people were less likely to get COVID, or if they did get COVID, did the symptoms go away faster? You know, was the condition worse? So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, and I'm just excited to be really at this intersection. So
Carrie, I want to thank you for the things that you're doing and your efforts, and Rafael in Brazil. I can't believe you, the work that you're doing. Thank you so much. I'm glad that we've gotten together, and I like to thank my team for this knowledge, is the ICBOs and at Cornell and the Noise Project, and my PI, and she's the most incredible person on this planet, and Karen Purcell. So, you know, look at these principles. You know, I'll put it in the chat. You know, we've did booklets, and so I'm glad to present this work. She would be very proud. So thank you all. Keep up the good work. And in Brazil, you have in Brazil, maca is really good. We have all kinds of medicines that could cure us. So, and again, you know, work with the universities. You know, it hasn't been hard, and like I said, be exclusive, come from make sure it's from the bottom up, and that, you know, that you go through this, and it's okay to be raggedy. That's what we say, you know. So it's okay to be raggedy. So just
it's so great. Yeah, and Makeda, he's gonna meet Dora. Dora is in Brazil right now.
What?
So, yeah, so I'm trying to put Rafael together with Dora. That's an explosion waiting to happen, right?
Thank you, God, Christian, Mariko, my teacher. So give thanks for all the knowledge. Keep on going, you know. People united will never be defeated.
Wow, it was beautiful seeing you all too. I'm just like, I'm over the moon right now to see my family here together today. Wow. You know, but I'm definitely looking forward to being on the next call too. And Ms. Warnerman, I'd like to find out more about your work and what you're doing too. And if any way we can contribute on this end, I'll be honored to be a part of that. And there's a lot of the work you're discussing that we've been working on. We did get some moringa off to North Carolina A&T for their cancer research, Mariko. Thank you. And so we're going to continue to work with that too. And I can fill you in more about some of the upcoming projects that we have going along right now too, at another time.
Yeah, so that's research on cancer, breast cancer, to a university in North Carolina. And so Bernard and another student, Scotch, are providing the moringa for that research.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. That's amazing. Yeah, we should definitely follow up. Well, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. To DJ CAVEM, Makeda, Dred, thank you both for coming on. It's an honor. We hope to have you again, and you're welcome to join us every first Wednesday. And yeah, stay in touch, check out the website, connect with people, call, holler, get your hands in the dirt. Yeah, love and blessings. Thank you all.